I'm still alive, and today I wanted to tell a story from my childhood that I don't think I've ever talked about before. As I probably said in the title, this is one of the craziest things I ever did in school. So to start with, I have always been extremely competitive, and sometimes with no one at all. Like if someone told me something had never been done, I would really want to do it. And this really came to fruition in my 4th grade English class. I was doing pretty well in school, and I wasn't particularly eager to prove myself or anything. So it was a normal day in class, and our teacher assigned us a book report. We had to read a book over the next 2 months, and then it would be due at the end of that time frame. Our teacher said she wasn't expecting us to read War and Peace or anything, but we could pick out the book that we wanted to read. So at the end of class, we went up to her and said the book that we were choosing. Everyone picked out a book to get approved, and I still remember what I said when I got to the front. I told her, "You said you didn't expect us to read War and Peace, but can we?" I remember that she laughed. She thought I was kidding, but she did not understand that she had given me a challenge. Eventually, she realized that I was not kidding and that I could read War and Peace if I wanted to. I left that day after class smiling. I didn't know why she had told us that she didn't expect us to read War and Peace, a book I knew very little about. After all, how hard could it be? It was very hard. The next day I got War and Peace at the library and learned that it was a 1,300-page book. But 4th grade me had read my favorite books plenty of times. It'd be difficult to read through that many pages in just 2 months, but not impossible, I thought. And then I started reading it. The plot was difficult to follow, and somehow I don't think that Leo Tolstoy wrote this book for a 4th grader to comprehend. I wasn't really understanding the plot, and if you asked me to recap it for you today, I don't think I could. I remember that it took place during the Napoleonic War between France and Russia. I'm also pretty sure there was this guy named Pierre who loved to throw parties, and this other guy, I think his name was Andrew, who loved Napoleon. So I brought this book with me everywhere over those next 2 months, which must have been a very funny sight. Up until a few years ago, I was pretty short, so imagine this tiny little 4th grader lugging this gigantic book around. Everyone I talked to assumed I was joking when I said I was reading War and Peace, but sadly, I was not. Now, as time went by, I began to regret taking on this challenge. Soon it was 2 weeks before the report was due, and I realized I wasn't gonna finish. But I was really close. I got through 2/3 of the book, which need I remind you is about 900 pages in. But I realized while I might be able to finish reading the book after 2 months, I definitely wouldn't have time to actually make the book report. And even if I did have time, I didn't think I could. The plot was too much for me, and eventually I just gave up. I went into school the next day and told my teacher that I wasn't gonna be able to finish War and Peace. But I told her that I would be pivoting to a new book. So what easier and more manageable book did I choose to read with 2 weeks left? To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh my gosh, why? I chose the story about children grappling with racism in the American South during the 1930s. My teacher, upon looking back, seemed equally surprised by this new choice, but she approved me reading the book. And yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird is only 376 pages, which I read through in about a week. Honestly, this book was much more manageable, but I did not understand any of, the racial undertones at the time. I could probably roughly recap this book, but I don't think I will because I already did it in my book report. I don't remember what grade I got, but I think it was an A. But that was probably the strangest thing I ever did in school. Actually, that's the strangest thing I ever did for an assignment. There was the time I started and crashed my own economy the next year, but that's a story for another day. But that is it for today. Thanks for watching, and Nate, I'll see you tomorrow.